Episode 9. The Surprising End. Revelations Under the Banyan Tree. The day began like any other, with the faint light of dawn creeping over Thirupalur station and the rhythmic hissing of my battered kettle. A few early travellers wandered onto the platform, rubbing sleep from their eyes. I poured out steaming cups of ginger cardamom chai, greeting each person by name or with a friendly nod. Behind me, the ancient banyan tree towered, its branches swaying in a gentle morning breeze. Michael was supposed to arrive that day, but he'd been summoned to Chennai briefly for an editorial meeting. The station felt quieter without his inquisitive presence. No clicking camera, no scribbling pen, no softly probing questions. Yet I carried on, as I always do, letting life's tapestry unfold before my cart. Little did I know that before the day's end, I'd encounter a twist I could never have anticipated, one that would gather friends, strangers, and perhaps fate itself beneath the banyan's sprawling shade. Morning surprise, an official announcement. Around 9, when the first wave of daily commuters had already boarded their trains, a short announcement crackled over the station loudspeakers. "Attention, please. There will be a special gathering at Thirupalur station today at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. All staff and vendors are requested to be present near the banyan tree." A ripple of curiosity spread across the platform. The station master, Subramani, poked his head out of his office and shrugged at me. "I didn't schedule anything special. Must be a directive from higher authorities," he muttered. The fruit vendor Lakshmi, who just arrived with fresh bananas, asked, "Gopal Anna, do you know anything about this event?" I shook my head, equally puzzled. "No idea, sister. Maybe some railway officials visit." Narayan, the newspaper vendor, smirked. "Could be they're finally awarding you for your lifelong service, Anna." I laughed it off. Me? Unlikely. Let's see what the powers that be have in mind. But a seed of intrigue had been planted. An event at 4 o'clock under the banyan tree. That was unusual. A busy midday and rumors flying. As midday approached, the station swelled with travelers. A local politician hopped off a train with his entourage, instantly stirring the crowd with shouts and slogans. A group of college students, home for the holidays, ambled by, grinning when they spotted me. "Gopal Anna, we missed your chai," they said, tossing coins onto my cart. All the while, rumors about the afternoon gathering spread. Some said the railways were honoring a retiring staff member. Others speculated it might be a press event featuring a VIP from Chennai. A few joked that the banyan tree was being cut down to make way for station renovations, eliciting gasps of horror. I prayed that wasn't true. Couldn't imagine Thirupalur station without that ancient guardian. Michael was nowhere to be seen, still away on his quick trip to the city. I found myself wishing he'd return in time. If there was something significant happening at the station, surely he'd want to document it. The unexpected return of familiar faces. Just after noon, something even more surprising occurred. I spotted two women stepping onto the platform from the Trichy-bound train. At first, I didn't recognize them. They were dressed in smart salwar kameez outfits, each carrying modern travel bags. Then one waved excitedly, calling, "Appa." My heart flipped. It was my elder daughter, Vali, and my younger one, Radha, both beaming as they hurried toward me. I nearly dropped the clay cup I was holding. "What are you two doing here?" I stammered, rushing around my cart to embrace them. "You didn't tell me you were coming." Vali laughed. "Surprise, Appa. We managed to coordinate our leave. Radha from Bengaluru, me from Kerala. We wanted to visit you together." Radha added, "Also, we heard rumors that something big was happening at the station today. We thought we'd come see for ourselves, and see you, of course." Tears pricked my eyes. I glanced around at the onlookers, feeling slightly self-conscious, but my joy outweighed any embarrassment. "You couldn't have made me happier," I said, my voice quivering. They took turns fussing over me, asking if I was eating enough, why I hadn't replaced my threadbare shirt, and whether my knees still hurt in the morning. I answered their concerns in my usual cheerful manner, but deep down I was touched beyond words. Their presence alone was a blessing. The afternoon mystery deepens. By 2 o'clock, the station felt oddly charged with anticipation. People kept glancing at the large clock, awaiting 4 o'clock. Some of the vendors and staff, like Subramani, Lakshmi the fruit vendor, and Narayan, whispered theories about what was in store. My daughters took up positions near my cart, watching me brew chai for a steady stream of customers. They giggled when old friends stopped by to comment on how the girls have grown, or how they're even taller than Gopal Anna now. Radha helped wash cups, eager to relive her childhood days at the station. Vali offered a warm smile to each traveller, collecting coins and handing back change. Their presence turned my routine tasks into a celebration. At around 3:30, a wave of railway officials arrived, some in crisp uniforms, others wearing ID badges around their necks. They huddled near the station master's office, whispering among themselves. Subramani looked anxious, but also excited. Michael's breathless arrival. 3:45 came, and there was still no sign of Michael. I started to worry he'd missed the whole thing. But then, with a dramatic flourish, I saw him sprinting down the platform, backpack jostling and camera slung over his shoulder, much like the day he nearly missed his train. He paused, hands on his knees, gasping for breath. "Anna, I got delayed. Train late." I laughed, offering him a cup of water. "Calm down, Michael G. You're here just in time. We're about to find out what this mystery event is." Catching his breath, he glanced around at the gathered officials, the throng of curious onlookers, and my daughters. His eyes widened. "Your family's here. Did you know about this?" I shook my head. "They showed up as a surprise. I suspect something bigger is at play." The gathering under the banyan tree. At exactly 4 o'clock, a long whistle signaled from the public address system. The railway officials formed a small procession, led by a tall, dignified woman in a neatly pressed sari, clearly someone of rank. The crowd began migrating toward the banyan tree, forming a semicircle beneath its wide canopy. Subramani stood near the trunk, looking both nervous and proud. He cleared his throat and spoke into a small microphone that the officials had set up. "Friends, staff, and respected passengers of Thirupalur station," he began, voice echoing in the hush. "We have a special announcement today, one that celebrates the heart and soul of this station." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some folks glanced at me, while my daughters slipped closer, each holding one of my arms. Michael stood behind me, notebook ready, camera lens glinting. Raja, the station dog, trotted up, tail wagging, as if sensing the moment. The tall woman in the sari stepped forward. "My name is Divya Ramesh, Divisional Railway Manager for this region," she said calmly. "I've been reading some fascinating articles in the press about Thirupalur station, particularly about a certain chai vendor whose story has captured hearts far beyond our state or even our country." She paused, scanning the crowd with a hint of a smile. Michael Hastings, the Australian journalist, wrote a detailed piece about the laughing chai WALLA. It has reached thousands of readers globally, some in high places. My pulse quickened. Michael flashed me an excited grin, but I felt a surge of shyness. They're talking about me. The revelation of a lifetime. Divya continued, "This station, once overlooked, has become a symbol of community spirit and resilience, and at the center of it is you, Gopal Anna." She turned to me, her words ringing clear. "You've spent a lifetime brewing chai and spreading warmth, not just in cups, but in hearts." My daughters tightened their grip on my arms, and I heard them sniffle. I stood frozen, unsure how to respond. Applause broke out among the crowd, vendors, travellers, porters, and staff clapping vigorously. Michael snapped photos, capturing my stunned expression. Divya raised a hand for silence. In recognition of your decades of service, though not officially on railway payroll, you've been an unwavering presence here. We, the Railway Board, have a special announcement. Today, we officially name this banyan tree and the adjoining platform area in your honor. Henceforth, it shall be known as Gopal Anna's Corner. Gasps and cheers echoed. My mouth fell open. I felt tears welling, my throat too tight for words. A part of the station, named after me? Divya gestured to two railway workers who pulled aside a small cloth draping a newly installed plaque. Sure enough, it read, Gopal Anna's Corner. In honor of Gopal, the Chai WALLA, whose spirit, laughter, and kindness have uplifted Thirupallur station for generations. The crowd erupted into more applause, some cheers, and a few whistles. A wave of emotion surged through me, pride, disbelief, and overwhelming gratitude. My daughters cried openly, hugging me from either side. Even Subramani dabbed his eyes with a handkerchief, trying to maintain composure. A speech from the heart. Someone thrust a microphone into my hand. My entire body trembled. I glanced around at the banyan tree that had sheltered me, at the station staff who had become family, at the travellers who paused to witness this moment of unity. Raja wagged his tail at my feet. Michael stood off to the side, camera pointed at me, but eyes warm with encouragement. I took a shaky breath. I don't know what to say. Thank you. To everyone. This station has been my home, my life, my everything. I never imagined such an honor. My gaze swept across the crowd, tears blurring my vision. I'm just a chai seller. All I ever did was try to make each person's day a little brighter, with a smile, a conversation, or a hot cup of tea. I don't feel I deserve such a big gesture. Divya stepped forward, her voice soft. Your humility is precisely why you deserve it, Gopal Anna. The applause grew louder. I could see Narayan, the newspaper vendor, grinning ear to ear. Lakshmi, the fruit seller, wiped her tears with the end of her sari. The policeman who once saved my money box raised a cheering fist. So many faces, all shining with shared pride. I cleared my throat, determined to speak a bit more coherently. If I've learned one thing in life, it's that kindness and laughter can transcend any barrier, be it language, class, or sorrow. Thank you for letting me be part of your journeys, and thank you for being part of mine. I accept this honor on behalf of everyone who makes Thirupallur station feel like home. My voice cracked on the last word, and the crowd erupted again. This time I let the tears flow freely, my heart too full to worry about appearances. The grand unveiling and festive atmosphere. As the applause subsided, Divya guided me and my daughters to the plaque. She handed me a small garland of fresh marigolds, which I laid around the sign that read, Gopal Anna's Corner. A railway photographer snapped pictures, capturing the moment for official records. Then, in true Thirupallur style, the atmosphere shifted from reverent to celebratory. Someone began clapping in rhythm. Lakshmi's teenage son brought out a small drum, tapping out a lively beat. Passengers waiting for the next train joined in the clapping. Soon the entire corner buzzed with joy, a spontaneous celebration, reminiscent of the festival gatherings we'd so often seen. My daughters laughed, tears drying, as they swung my arms in a playful dance. Even Raja seemed excited, barking in sync with the drum. Michael darted around with his camera, capturing every angle. Overwhelmed by gratitude, I found myself laughing in that loud, unguarded way everyone associates with me. Michael's revelation. At the height of the merriment, Michael waved me over, pulling me aside for a moment of quiet amid the swirling crowd. His eyes shone. Anna, he said, voice trembling with excitement, this is incredible. The best kind of storybook ending. I grinned, breathless from the surge of emotion. I never expected anything like this. He patted my shoulder. You deserve every bit of it. My editor told me that after I published your story, it struck a chord with readers worldwide. Donations poured in for local charities. People wrote letters praising your outlook on life, and clearly it also reached the railway authorities. I had no idea they'd do something so grand, though. I stared at him, a wave of realization washing over me. Michael G., if not for your article, none of this would have happened. He smiled gently. Perhaps, but I only shone a spotlight. The goodness was already there. Before I could respond, my daughters beckoned us to join the ongoing celebration. A mysterious letter and an unexpected gift. As the impromptu festivities continued, Divya approached me again, handing me an envelope. This arrived at the railway divisional office, she explained, addressed to the Chai WALLA of Thirupalur station. It came with a note referencing Michael Hastings' article. Curious, I tore it open. Inside was a handwritten letter in English and a cashier's cheque. I frowned, reading slowly. The letter was from an elderly couple in Melbourne, Australia, a couple I'd never met. They wrote, "Dear Gopal, we read your story in the paper and felt compelled to help. Decades ago, our son travelled through India but tragically passed away in an accident. We still remember the kindness he encountered from ordinary people like you. To honour his memory, we want to support someone who embodies that same kindness. Please accept this cheque as a token of our gratitude. Use it to continue your good work in whichever way you see fit, helping the needy, improving your station, or simply making life easier for yourself. We believe in paying love forward, and we're convinced you will do the same. Yours in gratitude, Margaret and Henry Thompson." The cheque was for a substantial amount, far more than I'd ever seen in one place. My head spun. I handed the letter to Michael, my hands shaking. He read it aloud for the crowd to hear. Gasps and murmurs rose from those who understood English. Others asked for a translation, which Michael provided in Tamil. Tears pricked my eyes again. Why me? The generosity was staggering, and it felt too big to bear alone. A decision under the banyan tree. The crowd, newly hushed, waited for my reaction. I folded the letter, pressing it to my heart. I can't keep this just for myself," I said, voice quavering. "What we do here at Thirupalur is a collective effort. The station is a family, so I will donate a portion of this to improve our station's facilities, maybe a better waiting area, or fans and benches for the comfort of travellers." Cheering erupted. Subramani beamed, clasping his hands together as if in prayerful thanks. I paused, glancing down at Raja. Also, some of it will go to local animal care. Stray dogs like Raja deserve proper food and medical attention. A wave of affectionate laughter echoed. Then I looked at my daughters, whose eyes glistened with pride. And a little bit will help me fix our leaky roof at home, so when my daughters visit, they don't have to duck under buckets. At that, everyone burst into good-natured laughter. My daughters nodded, tears replaced by smiles of relief. Michael captured every moment, my trembling hands clutching the cheque, the crowd's jubilant reaction, the crestfallen station dog who just realized he'd be off the street dog diet. The reunion of hearts. In the aftermath, the station turned into a swirl of congratulatory handshakes, pats on the back, and tearful hugs. Even the midday travellers who'd arrived moments earlier joined the crowd, picking up bits of the story from neighbours and station staff. At one point, I stood near the banyan tree, half dazed by the flurry of events. My daughters stood on either side, their arms around me. Michael approached, lowering his camera. "Anna, how do you feel?" I laughed, a soft, breathless laugh, still in disbelief. "I feel unworthy, but also incredibly grateful. It's like the universe decided to be generous all at once." He nodded. "Sometimes we gather karma over many years, and it comes back when we least expect it." I gazed at the plaque, Gopal Anna's corner, and then at the letter in my hand. I've always believed in the power of small acts. Maybe this is proof that those acts echo beyond what we can imagine. Michael patted my shoulder. You once told me that life is a blend of bitterness and sweetness, and it's our attitude that makes it worth drinking. Today, I think we've tasted the sweetness in abundance. I couldn't agree more. Quiet reflections in the evening glow. By early evening, the official ceremony ended and the crowd dissipated. The station returned to its usual rhythm, trains arriving and departing, vendors calling out, porters hefting luggage. But a lingering warmth remained in the air, as if the day's events had infused the station with renewed spirit. My daughters helped me roll my cart to its usual spot under the newly christened Gopal Anna's Corner. Their eyes danced with excitement at the thought of spending a few days together with me. Michael stuck around, interviewing a few travelers for final reactions, and then joined us. We brewed one last kettle of chai for ourselves, a private toast to the station that had somehow become the epicenter of a whirlwind day. Standing under the banyan tree, the four of us raised our cups, me, my daughters, and Michael. Raja dozed nearby, snoring gently. To Thirupallur station, Michael said, lifting his cup. To community and kindness, Vali added. To family, Radha murmured, leaning her head on my shoulder. To all the small acts that lead to big miracles, I said softly, my heart full. We clinked our cups together, the chai steam rising in the golden hue of the setting sun. Epilogue. A lasting legacy. In the weeks that followed, Michael finalized his article series, sending the story of Thirupallur Station and its laughing chai WALLA across international platforms. The response was overwhelming. Letters poured in, offers of donation for the station's upkeep, and even a few travelers who deliberately booked tickets just to see the famed Gopal Anna's Corner. True to my promise, a portion of the funds went to station improvements, new benches, a fresh coat of paint for the waiting room, and additional lights for better nighttime safety. Another share went to a local animal shelter, which began vaccinating and feeding stray dogs around the station, Raja included. The remainder helped me fix my leaky roof, a modest comfort I'd never thought I'd afford. The plaque under the banyan tree stood as a daily reminder of that extraordinary afternoon. Travelers paused to read it, often smiling or asking me to pose for pictures. My daughters returned to their lives, but they called more frequently. They seemed relieved that I was not only in good spirits, but also recognized in a way they'd never imagined. Michael stayed in Thirupallur a bit longer, documenting the station's transformations, then eventually embarked on further travels across India. We promised to keep in touch. I'll be back, he said, maybe for the next surprise. I laughed. Knowing this station, there'll always be another story brewing. A final note from me, Gopal. Now, when I greet the morning trains, I do so with the same smile, the same laughter that's been my signature for decades. But there's a new warmth in my chest, a confirmation that the small, consistent acts of kindness and humor can ripple out in unimaginable ways. I remain, in essence, the same chai walla, still measuring out tea leaves, boiling water, adding sugar or jaggery, offering a friendly conversation. My life is rooted in the simple joys of service. But each time I glance at that plaque reading Gopal Anna's Corner, or remember the letter from the Thompsons in Australia, I'm reminded that no act of love goes unnoticed by the universe. Under the sprawling banyan tree, its ancient roots entwined with the station floor, I've found that life's greatest surprises often spring from the seeds we plant unknowingly. A smile here, a helping hand there, a laugh shared with a weary traveler. These seeds blossom in their own time, sometimes when we least expect. And so, my story continues. An old man selling chai at all hours, at a station no longer quite so forgotten. The trains come and go, carrying countless stories and souls. I remain a witness, a friend, a keeper of small miracles. And if you ever pass through Thirupallur, look for the corner named after me. I'll be there, kettle in hand, laughter at the ready, grateful for every twist of fate that brought me here.